You ever have one of those mornings where you just know deep down that someone's about to test how close you are to just losing it completely? That was me. All I wanted was to get out the gate, hit the road for a simple security consult in Phoenix, and maybe not have my blood pressure spike before 7 a.m. But there they were, 3 A board members standing shoulder to shoulder blocking the only exit out of Willowbrook Estates, like a pack of airport security guards who failed the TSA exam. And Bryce Kellerman. Oh, you'd love Bryce. He stands dead center in front of my truck, holding his clipboard like it's a badge. If he'd grinned any harder, his face might have cracked. Emergency Inspection Authority, he announces, voice, wobbling like he's not quite sure he's even buying his own crap. We know about the weapons and cash in your safe. Code first, then you can leave. Just like that. 15 years disarming bombs in Afghanistan, and now some HOA lawyer with too much time and not enough common sense thinks he can shake me down in a strip mall parking lot. Life's funny like that. So there I am, engine idling boots hitting the blacktop, leaning on my truck with all the calm I can muster. You're blocking my exit, Bryce. That's called false imprisonment. And right then, his face goes so white you'd think he'd seen a ghost. Or maybe just realized the idiot he picked a fight with wasn't your average pushover. But I'll tell you what came next. Nobody saw it coming. Not even the feds. Now let's back up, because you're probably wondering how a regular guy like me, named Spencer Thornfield, by the way, ended up getting shaken down by a neighborhood Napoleon with a law degree from Craigslist. So here's the story, the whole thing. Not just the highlight reel. 15 years military, 2 tours in Afghanistan. I came home in one piece, got myself a little ranch house on a corner lot, just like every other veteran who wants peace, quiet, and neighbors who don't ask too many questions. You know the dream. Willowbrook Estates. The brochures promise community, safe streets, good people. Monthly HOA $50. Seemed like a bargain at the time. That's before Bryce slithered in from California, promising enhanced community standards. You ever hear a phrase like that and just know? It's code for, I'm about to make your life hell. Well, his wife Stephanie took over architectural compliance, meaning she walked around measuring grass with rulers and documenting house numbers, like she was on CSI Suburbia. Fast forward 6 months, and that $50 jumps to $275 for enhanced services. Yeah, they didn't fix a damn thing, but the paperwork multiplied. I kept my head down, paid up, did my job. Security consulting, corporate stuff, good money, lots of travel. All I wanted was to sip my coffee, work on my truck, and be left alone. But then, some genius neighbor calls in an anonymous tip. Suddenly, I'm Al Capone, accused of running guns out my garage, suspicious military gear, large cash transactions. Cops show up, Detective Martinez. Former Marine takes one look at my paperwork, says, some people watch too much TV, and shuts the case. But to Bryce, that was just blood in the water. Emergency Inspection Authority became his catchphrase. My lot needed monthly compliance checks. My travel was now suspicious activity. And my F-150 beige, by the way, somehow intimidated neighborhood children. I kid you not, they tried to make my pickup sound like a tank. So there I am trapped at the exit, missing out on a $50,000 contract because 3 board members think a clipboard makes them the law. Bryce reads me the riot act about community weapons policy violations and demands to see my safe. Except, yeah, I'd read the HOA docs, all 73 pages of them. No weapons policy, no right to search, no emergency powers except calling the actual authorities. This was personal. This was about control. Right about then, Dolores Ramirez. God bless her, hobbles over. 82 years old, meaner than a hornet watering can shaking in her hands. She leans in and whispers, they destroyed the Hendersons. Military couple. Kellerman harassed them out. 30 grand under market. her eyes burning with something fierce. 3 other veteran families, too, she says. All forced out. Always starts with anonymous complaints, ends with people running for the hills. I looked at her, then at my house, then at Bryce. Something flipped. Military mode, I wasn't going to be their next trophy. 3 days later, jogging past my house, I spot something new. Security cameras. 3 of them aimed right at my property. Their red lights blinking like eyes. Routine neighborhood safety enhancement, Bryce says. Holding his clipboard so tight, you'd think it was a shield. Anonymous concerns. Sure. Because me drinking coffee on my porch is basically a terrorist plot. That week, things escalated. Board members driving by 8 times a day, snapping photos. Bryce tailing me out the gate, taking pictures at every red light, like some low-rent private eye. The man had the subtlety of a marching band. Time for some counterintelligence. 15 years, Army, EOD, you learn things. Surveillance, counter-surveillance, and how to let someone's paranoia bury them. I wired my place up military-grade cameras, motion sensors, audio recording, everything by the book. But the best weapon, old friends. Couple calls to Army intelligence buddies, and I learned the best way to fight HOA corruption. Turns out every homeowner can demand to see all HOA financial records. 10 business days, they gotta hand it over. If they refuse, state triggers an investigation. So I filed the request. Watched Bryce's face drain like he'd sprung a leak. Meanwhile, I called the insurance company about those cameras. Their answer: remove them in 72 hours, or we cancel coverage. No insurance, no HOA. No HOA, no Bryce. I started to see the cracks. But then my friends did a little digging. Bryce suspended law license in Nevada, not registered in Arizona. Oh, and nearly 50 grand in HOA payments to a shell company he ran. Guy was robbing us blind, using fake community improvements as cover. And now he was harassing me to keep me busy. Dolores introduced me to Janet, a retired teacher who knew a thing or two about fighting bureaucracy. 3 military families, same story complaints, fake emergencies, relentless harassment until they sold cheap to buyers connected to Kellerman. We're talking organized fraud. I pulled together all the evidence photos, docs, everything. Presented it at the American Legion Hall with neighbors packed in smelling of coffee and fury. By the end, emergency recall signatures, criminal complaints, and a neighborhood watch program. Bryce had pushed the wrong crowd. He panicked, launched a smear campaign, flyers everywhere. Dangerous veteran, protect our children. Claimed I had PTSD, was dealing arms out my garage. It'd be funny if it wasn't screwing up my life. The real blow, he got to my clients. We've been informed you're under FBI investigation. There went my biggest contracts just like that. The guy had gone from nuisance to full-blown criminal. But I don't back down. We dug deeper. Turns out he'd pulled the same con in California and Texas sealed records, but the same pattern: create a crisis target, veterans buy up their homes, profit. It was a business model. And I had the paper trail. Then, Bryce made his dumbest move, yet tried to plant evidence in my garage. My security system caught every second him breaking in at 2 a.m., dumping movie, prop weapons, training ammo, oregano in military containers. I wish I was making this up. You'd have to be brain dead to fall for it. But planting evidence on someone with a security clearance, that's federal. As dawn broke, I had him. Video forensic evidence, federal crimes documented up and down. But Bryce, he doubled down, called in a fake gas leak, tried to get my house evacuated so his brother's crew could tear up my yard. Surprise, they'd already filed development plans to turn my lot into luxury townhomes. Every emergency over the last 2 years, followed by a forced sale every time to a shell company in his family's name. I found the architectural surveys, every veteran-owned property catalog targeted. This wasn't random. It was open season on anyone who wore a uniform. Digging into insurance records, I found he was running fraud there too. Fake claims, real payouts. RICO territory. By the end of that day, I had enough to tie him to $2 million in fraud, stretching across Arizona, Nevada, California, Texas. City shut down his repairs. Insurance companies wanted his head. FBI opened a case. Recall petition certified. Bryce. He was done. And then, twist you didn't see coming. Stephanie, his own wife, calls me at 3 a.m. He's running, moving money, trying to pin it all on you. She shows up with a banker's box, hand shaking, mascara running. Everything's gone. He's been stealing from day one, paying himself with fake companies. He's going to say, you hacked the account, stole the money. She gave me the documents, 3 years of fraud, every shell company, every fake invoice, every stolen cent. Turns out she helped set up the companies, thought it was just tax planning. The kicker. Our HOA insurance covered fraud. If we could prove it, the whole community would get paid back. Suddenly, the insurance company was on my side, feeding the investigation. Bryce planned to frame me, but now I had his entire operation in a thumb drive thanks to his wife. Next step, bring in the big guns. Patricia, former FBI, now insurance investigator. We've been building a case. You just gave us the kill shot. Everything was admissible. Arizona's laws were on my side. We organized the evidence paper trails, witness testimony, financial links. Even found Janet's talent for making prosecution timelines. We mapped every harassment incident to a fraudulent transaction, every forced sale to a property transfer. The American Legion turned into our war room neighbors, pitching in, everyone fed up and finally ready to fight. And while all this was coming together, Bryce fell apart. Bribery attempts, vandalism. He tried slashing my truck tire sugar in the gas tank, carving traitor in the hood, his own son on lookout. Classy, right? He offered neighbors cash to testify against me, promising to erase their fees. But several recorded his offers more evidence for the feds. Then, he started calling my clients again, lost 3 defense contracts in 48 hours, torpedoed my business. That's federal wire fraud, by the way. He tried breaking in again, planting more fake evidence caught in high def from every angle. That's domestic terrorism, if you're keeping score. But karma's real. Parents found out he'd coached their kids to lie about me. Businesses banned his family. Veterans organizations rallied behind me, covering lost income and boosting security. Here's the twist. While he was trying to bury me, he triggered a security clearance review with the Defense Department. Feds launched their own investigation into him. He accidentally declared war on the military-industrial complex. His wife divorced him. His brother's business tanked, media swarmed recall. Election became irrelevant. Now it was just about justice. The trap was set. Community center packed 300 people in a room for 50. FBI, media, law enforcement everywhere. Bryce sits up front, clutching that clipboard face, locked in terror. I present the case. Every stolen dollar, every targeted veteran, every confession. The moment that broke him, audio of his own voice, bragging about taking everything from these stupid government sheep who think they're heroes. The crowd goes dead silent. Then chaos shouts, tears neighbors, comforting neighbors. FBI agent steps up. Mr. Kellerman, you're under arrest for RICO wire fraud. Domestic terrorism conspiracy. Handcuffs snap. That clipboard clatters to the floor, and just like that, empire over. Federal prosecution, asset forfeiture. Full restitution. HOA fees. Drop back to $50 board, replaced by actual neighbors, mostly veterans, and folks who care. Property values climb, kids play outside families, barbecue without fear. My consulting business explodes. I help other communities fight back. Operation Clear. Title: a nonprofit we start helps 17 more neighborhoods root out HOA fraud across 6 states. Janet and I get married on that very corner lot. We adopt 2 kids whose dad died serving overseas. Community garden grows where Bryce once dug up my yard for profit. That's real victory. And wouldn't you know it, a year later I get a call from another veteran trapped at a gate. HOA demanding his safe code. Sound familiar? I load up my kit head out. Because here's the thing, bullies never really get it. Military training doesn't end when you hang up the uniform. The fight for justice just finds new battlefields. So let me ask you, where's the line between authority and abuse? When does standing up become your duty? Ever had to fight for your own home? Tell me your story below. Let's see whose justice hits harder.